They're so into you, right? They text and they text, they call, the gifts, the conversations, the visits, all the time spent together. They blow up your social media day after day after day. They just can't seem to get enough you. And then, as quickly as it takes to flip a light switch, they're cold, hard to get a hold of, and in some cases, they completely disappear. And it's mind-boggling. You can't help but ask, how did this happen? From burning hot, you're on, and then you're off, and it's frigid cold where you are. And there's actually a few reasons why this happens, and honestly, why it always will happen. And it has nothing to do with you. Because love bombing makes things go super fast, a narcissist ends up learning a lot about you very quickly. Those first few weeks or months that we open up and we share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it just doesn't take very long for the narcissist to learn what they need to know. What happens with all this information, honestly, and unfortunately, the narc just kind of throws most of it into the trash. They don't care. They sort out what they need to know and what they can use against you. And they quite literally lose interest very quickly because we just become uninteresting so fast. We're all human. There's only so many different quirks and things like that. There's only so many differences. And when you learn them all in 2 weeks, well, yeah, on day number 15 after 2 weeks, you're boring again. To add insult to injury, any and all love bombing does come to a complete stop. Nothing stays hot and heavy forever. This is a cycle, love bombing, devalue, discard. Nothing is forever captivating. You get 3 to 6 months. I hold firm to that, and I have for years. 3 to 6 months of whatever kind of love bombing you're going to get. You're interesting to them, you get love bombed for that, maybe a tad longer if it's like a long distance thing. But the more time you spend in their presence, typically the shorter the time your treatment lasts. Inevitably, to add to the narcissist losing interest, you screw up. And what I mean by that is you screw up by not being perfect. And shame on you, survivor, for not being perfect. Narcs are seeking ultimate perfect supply. They're seeking perfection. They're little addicts looking for their ultimate supreme high. The perfect person. The one that never gets old, never gets boring, never stops wanting to be abused and being okay with it. The one that gives the narc everything and can essentially deliver the impossible. Well, guess what? That's nobody. You're never going to be able to give a narcissist what they want. You can't. Narcissists quite like it when you lose. So sometimes there's nothing you can do right because they don't want you to do right. Sometimes when you feel like you can't win for losing, it's because they don't want you to win. It makes them feel better when you lose. When you fail, they can then berate you and make you feel bad. And sometimes, survivor, as sick as it is, that's just the goal of things. To take something out on you, to watch you fail, to see you upset. Once upon a time, sit down, in the long, long ago, I had a partner with some of these traits and tendencies. And I remember asking for some help with the laundry. I had just gotten out of the hospital. I was home, but I wasn't doing great. And I had asked for help with the laundry and helping me get it to the basement. And I asked for help and I was told, yeah, in a minute. And of course, nothing happened. And regardless of whether I had been in the hospital or not, it was like this weekly little fight, this little standoff between us. And I just remember being very frustrated. And so finally I said, why do we have to do this every time? Why do I still have to ask, why is this a whole thing? And this individual smiled at me, a creepy little grin it was too. And they said, oh, don't worry, I'll help you. I'll do what you say. But I just like seeing you get upset about it first. And in that moment, survivor, you can't win. There was nothing I could do. There was nothing that was going to make this all go better. They wanted to see me frustrated. They wanted to see me upset. They enjoyed knowing I was upset, that this was frustrating me. They probably enjoyed knowing that in that moment I needed their help. And that's what this becomes sometimes. Perfection is impossible. And then on top of it, you're dealing with shit like this. It goes from love bombing to, well, this is how I'm going to get my kicks. I'm going to do this kind of shit to you. But because you can't be perfect, narcs lose interest. You just don't cut it. Like, you're okay. You'll do for a little while in some cases, but they're under the impression that better is out there. I'm not saying it is, but that's where their brain is. Why stay interested in you forever? Better's just around the corner. Also, I gotta say it, these are the most dull people that have ever been dropped on this planet. I learned a long time ago that people who are boring get bored a lot, and narcs get so bored of people and things and places so quickly. Really, it comes down to business. Either you serve a purpose to the narcissist or you don't, and that's all there is to it, until it's just not fun for them anymore, until they're not interested. And when you have someone like a narcissist who is very rarely happy, just like perfection, they're going to keep chasing after it. Watch a 5-year-old open their birthday gifts. Each toy or gift is so cool until a bigger, shinier package is spotted on the table or presented to them, and then it's, oh, gimme, look at that. That's so much better. That's a narcissist. You're okay until a potential new source makes an appearance. How long do they play with the new toy? 10 minutes, and then they want to do something else. How rare is it to find a kid who will do the same things day in and day out? Hell, even for a grown person, some things can get a little monotonous. I get it. But there's a very short attention span here with people that are narcissistic. Always on to something else, next best thing, gotta go here, do that. And that's what people who are addicts and in constant search of their next perfection, their next little happiness high, that's what they do. Well, I'm going to try this. No, I don't like that. That didn't make me happy. Got to go over here. Got to try this. You're watching them stumble around in a stupor trying to find perfection and happiness. It's really pathetic when you figure out what the behavior actually is. With that being said, though, there's always someone new and exciting. If they aren't around right now, they're right around the corner at any time. And even when you think it's you and only you, I'll be honest, survivor, you're naive if you think that it's you and only you. Now, I'm not saying that every other supply source a narcissist has is romantic, because that's not true at all. These people have platonic friends, family, kids, and coworkers, people on social media, and others out there in the real world as well. There's always a harem of some size that these narcissists feed off of. It's, again, not always necessarily romantic, but what I can tell you is there is always someone else. We are not special, and we are completely replaceable. Survivor, you're a list of goods and services. You have nothing that somebody else can't offer. You know those things about you that are unique and special and tailored to you? They're not celebrated by a narcissist. They're not appreciated. Hell, you know what? Those things about you that are really unique, they're probably not even acknowledged. If anything, your identity is stripped away until you're a shell, because when you strip someone's humanity away, they're a lot easier to abuse and dehumanize. Someone else can always bring what you have to the table as far as what they're looking for. Because let's face it, what are they really looking for? Time, attention, sex, money. Those are the big ones. Yeah, pretty much any grown adult with a job can handle most of that, can't they? Toxic people also lose interest because the interest was never really genuine in the first place. Narcs run hot and cold. They do this with several people. They bounce around, Pay attention as you move through life. When people run hot and cold and they can't be consistent, it's not necessarily narcissism, but what it certainly is incredibly toxic. So why do you feel like narcs lose interest really quickly? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, Survivor, and take care of yourself.